All right, today I'm going to try to share a little bit about how I maximize my travel with using minimal gear. I will usually take a work trip and add days on the front side or the back side of the trip to take advantage of the location to take photo and video while there. So some of these ideas can apply to both fun, work, or trips that include both. I am just getting this YouTube channel kicked off, and I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Hit the notification bell and also comment. Ask any questions or give any other tips that you might have about something that I'm showing here today. Thanks so much. All right, number one is use a backpack. My favorite type of bag is a backpack. I actually love this backpack. This is the Mindshift Gear First Light 40 liter. It carries a ton. I have used this thing everywhere for the past 5 or 6 years. I used to use a Pelican when I first got started. I actually still have that Pelican stuck in the barn. It's a great case, it's solid, but it's just not practical for my style of shooting. I like to shoot run and gun a lot, and I like to be able to move around the location while shooting, and that's where the backpack comes in. I can throw it on my back, have both hands free to shoot. So like I've got my camera here, I can throw the backpack on and shoot. If I need to stop, drop it, take the stuff out, and that keeps both hands free. Another reason I love a great backpack is because many of the places you go are not very roller friendly. You got dirt, grass, trails, rocks, and all that stuff that's impossible to make a roller work because it just won't go. And the roller takes away from that mobility because it takes a dedicated hand to pull it and one hand to shoot, and it loses that ability to shoot as much as you can. All right, so a little bit about this bag. It's my daily use bag. I have had it for 5+ years. It's the Mindshift Gear 40 liter First Light series. I've had it since 2018. It's been to 5 continents, 15 countries or so, and I think I've taken it to all 50 states. Needless to say, this is my go-to for 5 years. It's still in great shape, still holding up. So I had no build quality issues with it at all. It's got a modular interior where I can place a 200 to 600 if I need it, a gimbal, a drone, multiple cameras. Usually take 2 to 3 cameras with me. This 200 to 600 can go in here, the 70 to 200 can go in here, and whatever needs to go in here will fit. Got space for batteries, wires, other things here. It's got space on the outside. The only negative really is that it does not have a good laptop compartment. The laptop's just more weight to carry, so I don't carry it with me anyway. When I'm shooting, it's usually back in the room, and so this is great. I'm fine with it not having a laptop compartment. I'll carry that in my sling bag just for the travel days. So number 2 is the Peak Design Capture Clip. It puts your camera in a safe and sturdy position on your chest to protect it from banging around in surroundings. It will go on pretty much any backpack strap. I took it off this backpack to show how it works, but I get more footage and I get more photos because I have this thing on my bag. So I'm not a big fan of straps. This thing keeps your camera handy and accessible and safe. It's on your chest. It's not going anywhere. It's locked in. So once you put it in, it's there. It's not coming out until you push the button, pops out. So having it on my chest, it's not going to bang against the rocks and the things that I'm walking near if it's on a strap. I love having it on my bag. I have it on every bag that I carry. Anytime I'm hiking or I'm traveling, anything that I'm doing, this is on. All right, so number 3 is go handheld and hybrid. I am shooting handheld a lot. This is the A7 IV with the 16 to 35. The internal stabilization on these cameras is amazing, but I practice different shooting techniques that keep my multiple points of contact. So my elbows are in. I can use the EVF here a good bit, and that allows me to have stable shots. Shift your weight on your hips. This allows you to get small movements with solid stability. Another factor is the actual camera. So I love Sony stuff. I've been on Sony for over 10 years. The A7 IV is my current A-cam. Most of my travel projects that I'm shooting with 2 A7 IVs. I do have an A7S III if I'm taking a third camera, or if it's going to be very video specific with the higher frame rates and everything. But I'm always taking photos, and I love a great hybrid camera. A7 IV is great because it has a 32 megapixel sensor. It's got a great 4K image. It's kind of in the sweet spot. There are a few benefits to the A7S III that the A7 IV don't have, like 4K and higher frame rates. This one crops, where the A7S III does not. But for photo and video, this is the way to go. Both of the cameras are in a consistent rotation in my bag, but I always try to pick the one that best fits the need of the day. And the last couple of years, these three have been my go-to. All right, number 4 is the Peak Design Travel Tripod. As you can tell, I love Peak Design gear. This is the carbon fiber one. These travel tripods have really changed the game for me. I love the compact form factor. It's just a little bit bigger than a water bottle. They're super stable. They can easily go in a carry-on bag, or they'll go checked. I usually take 1 or 2. I have this carbon fiber version, and I also have 2 aluminum versions. So I love the Arca Swiss plates, being able to clip this in. It's locked in. It's much smaller than the Manfrotto video plates that I used to use. I have these on every piece of gear so that I can always throw it on a tripod or throw it on my capture clip on my chest. So it's ready whenever I need to throw it on a different mount. I have one of these plates on everything, on every piece of my gear, my lenses, my cameras, so that I can always throw it on the tripod, throw it on the capture clip. I've got an adapter for my gimbal so that it can mount on there. So I know that they're a little bit pricey, but they're totally worth the money. All right, so number 5 is more conceptual, but it is to use natural lighting. I typically only carry 1 light with me, and this is the one. It's just a small aperture light, just for a little bit of extra feel sometimes. But I love naturally lit interviews. It keeps my kit smaller and mobile, and it also makes me plan for what I'm going to be shooting. This last trip to Uganda, I made sure that we shot most of our interviews like early in the morning or late in the evening to get the softer light. I know some projects will require more lighting, but I try not to take the larger lights. But I try not to take the larger lights unless I know ahead of time that it's going to be a need. All right, so number 6 is zoom lenses. So I have the 24-70 that is totally well worn, but works great. I have the 70-200, and I have the 16-35. These are my go-to lenses. These 3 lenses give me the best wide range of focal lengths to shoot in any situation. I own quite a few primes, a 55, a 25, an 85, a 35, but most of the time they're not practical to travel with just because of the space in the bag. All right, so 2 specialty lenses that are on my list to carry depending on the specific project or where I'm going is the 200-600. If wildlife photography is going to be an option, this is going, and a lot of times I will leave the 70-200 at home and take this in its place. The other piece is this 35 G Master Sony lens 1.4. I will take this if I know I'm going to have low light situations or if I'm going to be taking a lot of portraits. This is a great portrait lens. It's my favorite portrait lens, and usually if I take a prime, this is the one that I take. All right, so number 7 would be to use a smartphone gimbal instead of a full-size gimbal. This is the Insta360 Flow. Your phone is a great way to get some extra B-roll that tie into some of the projects. All right, so if I'm not taking a full camera gimbal, I like to have a small pocket phone gimbal. Another great factor is it helps you blend in more as a tourist if you're shooting in like a busy market or somewhere internationally, so you don't stick out like you would with a larger rig in many places. So this is the Insta360 Flow. I've only had it for a little bit. It just came out, and it pops up, comes on really quickly. It's up, it's going. It's got a tripod built in, which is amazing that you can have this portable, this small of a gimbal, and have a tripod built in. Many of them have a tripod that you have to screw on, and getting your vertical or horizontal shots is very easy. It's so quick, so stable, so easy. I love this thing. So if I were going to take a phone gimbal this would be the one I'd recommend. All right, so number 8 is to pre-plan, to get work done ahead of time, to scout out the location, to know where you're going and what you're going to be doing. In most of my projects, the location is a huge part of the story. I can always incorporate the location into the final film. So I always shoot as much as I can in all the places, because you never know how much that it can tie into the story. So for instance, in Uganda, I'm filming as we're driving to the location and from the location. As we go into town, I'm shooting different things like that. When we were in Ecuador, we're shooting throughout, driving through the city and everything. And a quick Google or Instagram search can also help me find personally, just because I like to take photos of those places, but also I can usually tie that stuff in. One tool that I love to use is called Photo Pills. It's an app on the App Store. It's about $11, and it is a wonderful tool. It will let you see detail of when the sun's setting, when the sun is going to be rising, and some specifics of golden hour information. But it also has an AR setting so that you can see where the sun will be at different times of the day, so you can track it across the sky. It also has a great AR Milky Way setting where you can go in and you can hold your phone up and progress through the time of the day and through the night, so that you can see where the Milky Way will be, and you can line it up perfectly for any astro shots. So Photo Pills is a great app to have on your phone. It does not take any data once you're on location, and it's great for planning where the light will be and how it's going to change throughout the day. All right, and so the last thing that I would say do is just to bring less gear. I've been shooting all over the world for the last 11 years and like 20 countries. Know your needs and take the gear that's needed. So I think I might need this lens or this whatever piece of gear, but it often just stays in my bag the whole time. One thing that I've learned, and I'm still learning, is to know the gear that I need and what it's going to take to capture the story, and take that. I like to shoot run and gun with a documentary approach, and often with little setup time. I want to be able to quickly access my gear and be shooting fast when the moment is happening. Don't leave an essential piece of gear at home, but also don't take everything that you own. I hope these ideas will help you on your next trip. I've got a few international trips lined up in the next couple of months, and I'll be applying these steps as I pack. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips or ideas about things that will help maximize your travel filmmaking.